Terrible. But Americans are not struggling. You know, this is the worst platform. Who put this stage up here? This is the worst. The frickin' place is falling down. I notice it keeps tilting further left. Like too many other things. What a crappy contractor this was. No, it's true.
That was Donald Trump in St. Paul, Minnesota. And believe it or not, it only gets worse from there. It only gets worse from him nearly taking a tumble right off of the stage. He was fixated on how bad of a job the contractors, as he kept saying, did, and the tech people, and setting up the tech side of things for this speech. Here is the continuation of that.
How about that? Before I got up, the teleprompter fell down. That's great. Great going, fellas, back there. Then they want to know why I didn't pay the bill. You know, I get a lot of heat. I got a teleprompter that's gone. This one's almost gone. But how about that?
And interestingly, he was fixated in this speech for a little bit of time on explaining why it's okay that he doesn't pay people when he's supposed to all too often. And I'll give you insight into why this is something that's on his mind.
I'm known as being a pretty tough negotiator, and sometimes I get a bad rep. A contractor does a bad job. I met a lot of great contractors, but he does a bad job, I don't pay him. And then they say, Trump doesn't pay his bills. I pay my bills. I pay the bills so fast if they're good. But this happens to be, look, the teleprompter is useless. It fell down. I don't know why it fell down. It's not like, I don't mind. I've lost teleprompters to wind. There's no wind in here. So why the hell did it fall down? Did you see it? It fell down. I'm standing here listening to the great Lee Greenwood, and the teleprompter falls off the stage. Now I put my hand on this thing, and the thing tilts over. This is not... I think it was Emmer. Maybe Emmer.
So why he's referencing the fact that he gets heat for not paying contractors, not fulfilling his financial obligations to people, and following through on agreements to pay people for certain work, is because it came out in the criminal trial in Manhattan during Michael Cohen's testimony that one of the things that made Michael Cohen feel morally icky was whenever he would go at the direction of Donald Trump, and sometimes to small businesses, people who needed these payments to be made and needed the money, he would go to them and say, okay, we'll pay you 20 cents on the dollar. That's all you're going to get. Otherwise, you're going to get nothing. And he would cheat people out of money like that. Again, you have this agreement with someone to do work, they do the work, and then he would send his henchman at the time, Michael Cohen, to go and say, we'll only pay you 20 cents on the dollar, or you can get absolutely nothing. And that was one of the things that made Michael Cohen and his family feel bad about what he was doing. So that has sort of brought to the surface this conversation about Trump's behavior in business and the low character nature of it. That's my assumption as to why he's talking so much about not paying people during this speech. And before playing this next clip, please make sure you are subscribed to this YouTube channel if you're enjoying the content, just by clicking the subscribe button, plus the like button and the alert bell help as well. Then we get into the part of the speech, and every speech where he just seems disoriented and confused and has a hard time articulating himself.
Is in Ohio. In fact, our great senator from North Dakota, you were there for somebody that's going to win, I think, Bernie Moreno. And we had 45 mile-an-hour winds.
And I'll just do a few of these back to back. You have him trying to say successful.
We're going to have Maganomics. We're going to make it the most successful. We will be again the most successful country in the world.
Successful. And this one, as well as interesting, him accidentally saying that Jack Smith is overseeing his New York case.
We have deranged Jack Smith in New York. He's a deranged individual, Washington.
Right. New York or Washington, one of the two for sure. You also have this statement. Try to decipher what he's saying here.
I will fully uphold our great but very under siege Second Amendment. We're going to withhold the powers and the beauty of our Second Amendment. We need our Second Amendment.
We're going to withhold, and actually friend of the show, Andrew Parr, flagged this clip and did, quote, we're going to withhold the powers and the beauty of our Second Amendment. And next to it put hashtag what? which indeed, I don't know exactly what that means. I've said it before, but Trump and the word beauty and beautiful, he uses in very strange scenarios like Gettysburg, the Battle of Gettysburg, so beautiful and horrible, but beautiful. I don't know if he exactly knows what that word means. And the Second Amendment, so beautiful, hot. Then you have him preparing for, now we get away from the confused to him a little bit panicked now that Biden has said, all right, you want to debate? Let's debate. And they agreed to these two debates. And Trump's already starting to lay the groundwork to explain away why Biden overperforms and maybe trounces Donald Trump at this debate, preparing allegations of performance-enhancing drugs.
Can't find his way off a stage, can't put two sentences together, although he has agreed to debate, so I don't know, maybe they know something. He's going to be so jacked up for those debates, you watch.
Yeah, and then he got into that more explicitly in this moment.
No, I have fake Tapper is they said, I just want to debate this guy, but, and I'm going to demand a drug test, too, by the way. I am. No, I really am. I don't want him coming in like the State of the Union. He was high as a kite. I said, is that Joe up there? A beautiful robe? And by the end of the evening, he's like, well, he was exhausted, right?
Actually, I remember him being pretty energetic throughout the whole State of the Union address. And yeah, so it's interesting. He was saying so boldly, because he's so confident out in public, I'll debate Biden anywhere. He can decide the specifics. I don't care who moderates, whatever. Anytime, any place, up to Biden. And now that Biden goes, all right, cool, let's do it. Trump's like, well, let's do a drug test though, because either I think he'll use that to say, well, Biden didn't agree to a drug test, and that could be his justification for not doing the debate, or it won't happen, obviously, and Trump will still go through with the debate, and he can say, well, that's clearly Biden did so well because he was on drugs. Obviously, that's the explanation, which you're not all confident and strong and powerful and know that you could defeat Biden in debate if you have to use excuses like baselessly accusing him of being high as a kite. Now, the funny thing is they keep saying this, but every time you have this big, important speech or debate, Biden shows up and, according to their own standards, based on how they react afterwards, overperforms. And the reason is I just think Biden takes those seriously. So he preps properly, he rests properly, maybe has a little caffeine, and then you're good to go. Yes, it can change how energetic and stuff you are whenever you properly prepare and understand the importance of it and come out with a lot of energy. And that's probably the entire explanation, not performance enhancing drugs as they're trying to accuse him of. But again, I think this sort of hurts Trump's case of him being the guy who doesn't care about the rules, doesn't care about the demands from Biden or the place or the time. He can do it and he'll crush Biden either way, when now he's setting up some justifications for why Biden might actually do pretty well. And then you have a little bit more on the debate here.
Came in with a big force that we saved. In Minneapolis, we really saved. Remember that idiot from CNN? Oops, I shouldn't say that. I'm doing a debate for them. They'll be slightly tougher. No, I have fake Tapper is they said, I just want to debate this guy, but, and I'm going to demand a drug test, too.
Okay, it's so ridiculous. So now he's also already saying the moderators are going to be biased. So just get ready when, and this is my expectation, Biden does overperform and does do pretty well, and Trump has moments that he's not proud of. He's going to say it's because the moderators were biased, the network's biased, Biden was high as a kite, and he can never just take, what's that phrase they used to use so much? Personal responsibility for his own performance. Here is a moment that I've explained the context to you all of before when he does this bit. So this time, for the fun of it, because it makes it so much more fun, I'll just not explain any context. And if you haven't seen this before, you'll be very confused.
Mom, I don't know, Mom. This is a heavy sucker. Oh, Mom, I can't do it. Boom.
Okay. No comment. Then he claims that if he weren't president, back when he was, you wouldn't have Minneapolis anymore.
You didn't have me as president, you wouldn't have Minneapolis today, and you wouldn't have had a couple of other cities that we saved, or little beautiful areas that we saved. We saved them for you. But what if you didn't have me as...
Very interesting claim. Quite the thing to do in a campaign. Just say wild achievements of yours that make absolutely no sense. You know, I saved Minneapolis. That was me. It's still a city because of me. So you can just go ahead and give me your vote for that by itself. Now, I'm sure what he's referring to is the summer of 2020 and saying that his response protected Minneapolis in some way. And I just have to say, first of all, constantly people show images from that summer and say this is Joe Biden's America when it was quite literally Trump's America, if you want to refer to it that way. And also, while of course, people should be held accountable when they violate the law during riots, when those happen, I doubt the riots were going to wipe Minneapolis off of the map completely. I don't know if that would have been the alternative if Trump were not president at that time. Here is another moment.
You look at Roe v. Wade, the big thing was getting it out of the federal government. Every legal scholar, every legal analyst, everybody wanted it back. Democrats wanted it. Everybody wanted it back. And we got it back.
So this is a part of Trump trying to convince people they wanted something they absolutely did not want. And it is strange that maybe it works because he has gotten away with making some talking points accepted among a lot of populations of people that make no sense. But it shouldn't work. It makes no sense to continually, repeatedly say everyone wanted the overturning of Roe v. Wade to happen. So why aren't you just happy about it? When obviously, based on polling, based on the outrage we've seen since, based on the likelihood of the political will being there if Biden wins the White House again and the Senate and House are Democratic majorities to enshrine Roe v. Wade into federal law, very obviously the majority of Americans are not pumped about the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and that has been shown since before it and afterwards. And even a lot of Republicans were fine with it staying in place. And so I don't understand how, as a political strategy, just telling people they believe something they obviously don't believe is going to work, but you never know. Here's Trump claiming to have won Minnesota in 2020 when he didn't.
Can you imagine? I thought we won it in 2016. I thought we won it I know we won it in 2020. We gotta be careful. We gotta watch those votes, you know.
So just prepare yourself as we enter into this election for the lies that we're going to hear. Inevitably, if President Joe Biden wins, no longer can the MAGA portion of the country accept the legitimate democratic results if those results don't go their way, and that is really frightening. I'll leave it there. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments.